Welcome back. As eminent speakers talk about the essence of the nation's independence, others are taking critical appraisal of the 57-year journey and what the future holds. A former private secretary to the late Premier of the Western Region, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Mr. Odia Ofiamung, and a former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, who featured on our political program, Sunday Politics, speak about the nation's federalism and some of its challenges.
I've said we have, over the years, had a cumulative effect, that what we're suffering is cumulative effect of leadership failure.
And who is to blame for this? Who is to blame for this? Who is to blame for the leadership failure?
Everybody. The leaders are uncaring. The Nigerian rulers have also abandoned the good governance of their country. There's no reason why, at this point, we should not strictly follow the SDG goals. Mainstream it into our development.
All right.
Follow it strictly.
The restructuring question is more than just a bid for amendment of the Nigerian Constitution. Because even if you carried out amendments, there are fundamental changes you need to make. Look, left to me, every local government is a production center. That production center gives about 40% of what it produces to the state government. The state government, so to say, harnesses what all the local governments have brought together and pays another 40 to the federal government. The federal government should let the state be proper production centers rather than barging into the state systems.
What system of government would you be suggesting that
would be federal?
Is best fit for us?
That would be federal.
Isn't it what we are operating right now?
No, we are not operating a federal system.
What do we operate?
Nigeria is a thoroughly unitarized and therefore debased federal system.
There is urgent need for Nigeria to join forces with other arms-producing countries of the world to end illicit importation of arms. The view of Rear Admiral Francis Akpan, who was one of the guests in our Special Independence Day program earlier today in Lagos.
What we have in the country is not more than the strength of a committee, and I think that's not enough with the problems we have from the Niger Delta and of course from the problems from Boko Haram. So I think we need to up the game in terms of the committee, not the committee. We should be having almost a directorate attached to a ministry, having the right legislative body to oversee them, and then of course link them up with the regional, sub-regional organization, and of course the continental organization. The production of small weapons, from the little experience I had in organizing or coordinating the Nigerian context for that body in South Africa, is such that you cannot handle it alone, because first, the proliferation and the article is foreign to your country. Whereas we have a DIC, but most of these weapons that are smuggled in or stolen into the country come from exchange, either from crude oil theft or from drug exchange or something. So they don't just come as just a bargain to buy, because it's difficult to buy arms. The processes are difficult. It's only possible from government to government. And so whatever arms get in the country illicitly, the way to tackle it must be through these bodies, the sub-regional body, and of course the continental body and the global body, because every arm you buy or import, it comes from somewhere, and you need to trace it to where it's coming from for you to abate the import into the country.
There is no need for passing the buck as far as the economy is concerned, so says renowned economist Bismack Irani. Mr. Irani was also a guest on our Special Independence program earlier today.
At independence, Nigeria was about $1,000, and now it's 1,992. That's about 2,000. So it's gone up by 100%. Ivory Coast was $1,200 at that time, and has gone up to 3,600, 201%. But Mauritius was $20,000, no, $2,000, and has gone up by a factor of 10 to $21,000. Mauritius doesn't have oil. Ivory Coast does not have oil, right? So you want to ask yourself, why this suboptimality that has gone all the way, right? So you have to break down Nigeria's performance over the period into different era. Era number 1, post-independence democracy. Era number 2, civil war and oil and squander mania. Era number 3, debt, where we started borrowing. Then era number 4 is looking inwards, right? Before we now got to era number 5, which is that of competitiveness, growth, and trying to open up our markets. But we're not there yet. There's still a lot of people locked in the past mentally that do not know that you need to be competitive and you need to work your way to success.
The Kaduna State Command of the Nigeria Police has confirmed the rescue of the Zamfara State Assistant Commissioner of Police, Emmanuel Agene, who was abducted last Wednesday along Birnin-Gwari Road in Kaduna State. The rescue, according to the State Commissioner of Police, Agiole Abe, came following intense pressure mounted on the kidnappers through aerial surveillance. While they're yet to make any arrests, the police are showing a clampdown on the criminals.
ACP Emmanuel Agene, who was kidnapped along Funtua Birnin-Gwari Road around the Maganda village where he was traveling. I'm happy to tell you that the officer had been rescued and is in stable condition, and he's in the police facility undergoing checkup to be sure that he did not sustain any serious internal injury. And I can assure you, in the next few days, I can assure you, we are already working a decisive action plan to get rid of these bandits, and I will intend to do it once and for all.
Meanwhile, the fight against insurgency might be yielding fruit as the police have arrested another self-confessed Boko Haram suspect in Ondo State. The suspect, Muhammad Bashir, was arrested along Ifira Road in Iswa area of the state. This is the second time the Ondo State Police Command is arresting a suspect of the state in less than a week. The public relations officer, Femi Joseph, who confirmed the development of Channel Television, said the Boko Haram suspect was arrested by the anti-crime patrol of the command in the area. The widening gap between the people of Owabi in Ikwani local government area of Delta State and their farmland has given them a lot to ponder on. A collapsed bridge over the river Etiop over 4 months has turned life inside out for them, and now they're calling on the Delta State government to come to their rescue. That's on Community Report tonight.
Owabi is one of the numerous agrarian communities in Ukwani local government area of Delta State, vast in the cultivation of cassava, plantain and other food crops. The presence of the river Ethiop within the corridors of the community has also impacted agricultural activities in Owabi, as their farmlands, most of which are located on the other side of the river, are adequately watered. The people will also rely heavily on the crystal clear water for domestic chores such as washing of clothes, usually navigate the community in the past using an only bridge, which has now caved in under heavy usage. The remains of the bridge have now become a sad reminder of how far-flung they've become from their means of livelihood, and the people vent their frustration.
So our people, then they go farm, now boat, then they enter farm. So if they're coming back, now see payment. If then they go, now see payment. So the thing, we don't know us who want to do our bridge. So the thing just tire us.
The challenge of adequate infrastructure becomes even more profound as the people attempt to find their ways to their various destinations. Those who can afford it engage the services of boat men to ferry them across, while few others resort to swimming, and this, they say, is costing them a lot.
If we dey go, we pay 100 naira, coming back 300 naira. Now so we dey suffer since 5 months ago. We are no way. Some of our people, they pass through Biaroku Umutu. Before you spend money to pass all the way, it's a long way. We are spending a lot of money. Those of us that doesn't have vehicles, we are suffering riding bicycle.
For the average farmer who is into dairy processing, there is no motivation to keep churning out product because of the cumbersome means of transporting their wares.
The bridge is source of our income. That is where we normally pass. We farm across the bridge. So that is where we get our foods. Anything that we use, the bridge is just useful to us. That is our major road. So since the bridge collapsed, we have been suffering. We want government to help us.
Responding, the Delta State government promises to look into the situation, but ask that the people should exercise patience.
I was shocked when I heard that the bridge collapsed about 4 months ago. It was just on Saturday that I was told of it, and I've also equally told my engineers to visit the place today. Some of them have gone there to assess the level of damages and see how we'll be able to come in.
A collapsed bridge is not an issue to play with. Lives are at stake and economic activities at its lowest ebb. The people of the locality would no doubt be delighted to see the gap staring them in the face bridged once and for all.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Nigeria's Falconets hand football fans Independence Day gift from Dar es Salaam. Thrashed Tanzania 9-0 on aggregate to advance to the next round of qualifiers for FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. We'll have more in sports news. Please stay with us.